All right, let's get started. We'll call the City of Milton Virtual Common Council meeting to order Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 at 6:01 p.m. And can I get confirmation of appropriate meeting notice?
The agendas were posted at Dave's Ace Hardware, City Hall, and Piggly Wiggly.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? That motion carries. We have an agenda. Pledge of Allegiance over Inga's shoulder is our flag. All right, everybody ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There are some members of the community signed on for probably public comments. Do they want to have those public comments now or at an agenda item later? Okay, so I will take that as on an agenda item later. And we will go on to mayoral proclamation for National Safety Month. And it's also June Dairy Month. And Jenny, there's a couple of other things this month too that we're not going to do a proclamation on this minute.
Yes, it's Great Outdoors Month, and today was also the World Milk Day too.
So I hope you all got your dairy in today. So Safety Month, June 2021. Whereas accidental falls, motor vehicle crashes, emergencies, and poisoning remain leading causes of preventable injuries and deaths in the United States. And whereas the cost of unintentional injuries to Americans and their employers exceeds $1 trillion each year and causes great suffering among individuals and their families. And whereas all Wisconsinites and all Americans deserve to live in communities that promote safe and healthy living, and preventing unintentional injuries and deaths requires the cooperation of all levels of government, employers, and the general public. And whereas founded in 1913, the National Safety Council was congressionally chartered in 1953 to lead the United States in injury prevention through safety and health information, education, training, and advocacy. And whereas the Wisconsin Safety Council, founded in 1923, is a chapter of the NSC and is our state's leading provider of workplace safety training and products. And whereas this month we reaffirm our commitment to working with national and Wisconsin safety councils to promote policies, practices, and procedures that will lead to increased safety, protection, and health in our businesses and industries, schools and colleges, roads and highways, and homes and communities. Now, therefore, I, Anissa Welch, Mayor of the State of Milton, do hereby proclaim June 2021 as Safety Month. All right, approval of the consent agenda. You're all on mute, except for Bill.
I would move approval.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. Discussion and possible action regarding Milton Farmers Market application for special event permits.
So this item is on our agenda this evening because by ordinance, anytime there is a special event request that involves public space or city-owned space, it requires the review by the Public Works Committee and by the Common Council. The Milton Farmers Market, which started last month in their initial application, had requested the use of the school district parking lot for the entirety of their event. And because that's not public right-of-way or public spaces, it's a school district space, it didn't require the approval of the Common Council. Since that time, the organizers of the Milton Farmers Market have submitted a new special event permit, which would request the closure of Parkview Drive between Greenman and College. Since that is a public space, that would require the Public Works Committee to review it and the Common Council to approve it. Last week, I believe, or maybe the week before, the Public Works Committee did meet and reviewed this revised or amended or expanded special event permit request and recommended that the closure of Parkview Drive occur at 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. The request from the farmers market organizers requested that the road close between noon and 8 p.m. Since that time and when the surrounding neighborhood was made aware of this request, we have gotten two messages back in writing from Integrity Martial Arts and the spa or salon along Parkview Drive, voicing opposition to the road closure as they believe it would negatively impact their businesses on that evening. Because the event is already taking place in the school district public parking lot and what we're referring to as the skinny lot, the closure of the road would then have their patrons park either around the corner or further down, and they believe that that would negatively impact their business. The Public Works Committee, I think, attempted to find a compromise by having the road closed at 5 as opposed to noon. But the event starts at 4. So the event would be underway for an hour, and then the road would close at 5. And that would be somewhat challenging to implement that, as it would either require the event holders to close the road or require Public Works or police staff to go close the road after hours. So the Public Works Committee's recommendation was to close the road from 5 to 8. The applicant's request was from noon to 8. So this goes forward then to the Common Council. Under the fiscal impact portion of it, at this time, it doesn't require any use of city resources, but as outlined kind of in our special event process, if it does require city resources, there could be a chargeback to the event holder. In this case, it would be if there was public works overtime to move the barricades or whatnot. But they've indicated that that wouldn't be necessary at this time. So the request for the council to consider is, would the council be in support of closing the road from noon to 8, or would they be in more support of the Public Works Committee's recommendation of closing it between 5 and 8? Or is there a different approach that the council wants to take, or to deny the road closure request? There's really a myriad of options that are on the table. And I see Nikki is on the call as well. She is one of the owners of Farmhouse Finds and the key organizer of the Milton Farmers Market. And I also see Jen Kramer, who is the principal of Milton East, who has allowed this event to take place on their property. And I think she's available for any questions, or if she has any comments. I guess I'll leave that up to the mayor on how she wants to proceed from here.
Nikki, do you have any comments that you would want to make right now?
Yeah, so I just want to really quickly clarify. My husband and I only wanted the road closed from 4 to 8 p.m. I don't know where noon came from, but it's only from 4 to 8 p.m. just because we had this first market and we had a great turnout. And mainly the main issue was there's a lot of traffic on Parkview Drive, and there were a lot of families at the event. And I think that for safety reasons, it would be something wise to do while the event is going on, just so there's kind of like a buffer for traffic, as well as the other businesses that complained, that wrote in the complaints. Rip from TLC and myself have found parking solutions for them. They were just not happy with them. So basically the lot behind our building and the side parking, their customers could use. And Rip and I both, because we obviously, in order to have like great events in the city, like things are going to need to get worked out. And like I said, both of us have tried to work with both of those owners, and basically any solution we've offered, it wasn't good enough. So we're actively trying to find a resolution. But in that area, when we had the original meeting with Al and Howie and a couple other people from the city, the recommendation was to have it in the school parking lot, because that area on Goodrich Square has ample amount of parking between the Milton house, the winery, street parking, side street parking, the whole thing. And the whole reason, just a little backstory, the whole reason why I wanted to have it in the school parking lot is because obviously my business is in Goodrich Square, and Goodrich Square is kind of up and coming, where all the businesses are trying to work together to make this a destination for the city. And other people, the karate guy, I think, wanted me to have it on a different night and a different location. But bottom line is, my husband and I have put in a ton of work and a ton of time and effort and money to get this event up and off the ground and running and bring something positive to the community. And I find it sad and unfortunate there isn't as much support.
So just a point of clarification to Nikki's comment on the application, it does say start the detour at noon. Right?
I think that was a miscommunication between my husband and Jenny, because when we originally spoke and had emailed, we've been in contact with Jenny a lot. It was between 4 and 8 p.m. We don't want to close it at 12, but like between 4 and 8 p.m. when the event starts and when it ends. And my husband and I would be responsible for removing barricades, or however you guys would like for us to do it, so we comply with city standards.
Yeah, and actually, I will mention when Tyler and I put the map together at that time, he was thinking noon. So it sounds like after the event packet went out, he decided to change that since there was a little bit of concern. So it sounds like as of right now, that's a 4 p.m.
Thank you.
And like I said, this is just once a month. This isn't to try to inconvenience people. I mean, we've offered spaces at the farmer's market for the karate guy to have a demonstration to capture more business and to get more business. We also offered it to the salon as well to try to get more business as well, because they have posted business hours, but they're not physically always there. So it's hard for us to even know when they're there and what will affect them.
Is there anybody else in the public that wants to make any comments? This would be a good time to raise your hand or use the reactions on the bottom of the screen. Okay, so I'll go to council members now to see if you have questions or comments. Any emails that city staff have received have been forwarded to the council if there were any questions or concerns regarding it. So Linda, I will go ahead and start with you.
Well, I'm sorry that there are some businesses that don't want to take advantage of this type of a situation, because it is really a nice draw to the whole area. I like the 4 to 8. I know that the karate place has evening classes, but I also know that with the use of just walking, there is a lot of parking in Goodrich Square. I would be in support of this event completely, and I'm very thankful to Nikki and her husband for coming into Milton like they did and just jumping in on an event to bring people into this part of town. This is the kind of action that we need to have all over town. I remember very clearly the first couple of years that we did Civil War Living History Days. There was a couple of businesses that were grumbling, but this is only a monthly event, and I think that will be very well attended, and I am in support of it.
Thank you, Linda. Teresa?
Yes, before I speak, I do want to say we really do appreciate all of your work. It is a lot of work, and sometimes there are problems, and they seem to surface and take over all of the hard work, but it is appreciated. However, I do have a problem with the idea of cutting the traffic. and the impact that that can have not only on the businesses, but the people that do need to park closely to the event, and the need not only for people needing handicap parking, but many people with young children and people with, bringing elderly people with them. And you end up with a lot of people that parking away from the event really it becomes problematic for them to walk even a block away. And it can say, forget it, we aren't able to come, or they become frustrated with it. And I'm afraid that cutting that traffic not only bothers them, but people that are using the city or the downtown for other purposes. So, yeah, that would be my concern.
So,
I'll
can I
just
answer that or no?
go around to all the council members, and then Nikki, I'll come back to you, and then if you just keep a list of things that you want to address, okay? Ryan?
I think it's a good event. I guess just looking at a map of the area, that shutting off that one block cuts out basically, and if more than half the parking stalls in that area, and if the school parking lot's fully being used by the event itself as well, there goes most of your parking in that entire area. So then you are relying upon the community house, the Milton house, and other locations for parking that are farther away, because you're kind of taking up all of it. And I guess I'm just curious that I know you want people to be able to cross the street to say go to your business and things like that. Is there anywhere else they're going when they're crossing the street? And then beyond that, is something else going to be in that parking lot during this event as well? Or is it just shutting it all off for safety purposes and there's nothing really going to be there? I guess
Can I respond or no?
Be nice if she could respond now.
Okay.
But
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So across the street in the skinny parking lot, that's the schools. That's where the car show will be taking place with RIP and any people that want to bring their car. So that skinny lot will be blocked off for the car show. And people are, so when we block the road off, there's still a handicap, the one you're talking about in front of our shop, there's a handicap spot, and then there's parking right there for people that need to be close to the event. That obviously my husband and I will have someone at the barricades if they need to park closer to the event.
okay.
Bill?
I guess my question is more to those that might have ideas for other safety steps that might be taken, other kinds of mitigation that can make the event safe if the street is open. What are some of the possibilities that can be there to kind of slow the traffic down to make it a safer situation?
We did talk about that this morning at staff meeting. Chief Mark Wart, myself, Howie, and others. And we did talk about that. Are there some traffic calming measures that we could take if the road was to remain open to, really alert motorists that there's going to be a potential for increased pedestrian traffic? And, creating kind of a pinch point with barricades at College and Greenman could do so. Putting some sort of, very obvious signage or cones to force traffic to slow down that wouldn't impact people be able to park. I think there are some solutions that we could do if the council was not willing to close the road that would, really help slow traffic and make people aware that, hey, there's something going on here. And, if you don't really need to go down this way, go a different way. Or if you're going to come this way, go slow. You would hope that the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people out there would do that on its own. But, we would be we would want to take additional measures if the road is to remain open as well.
I think that this is a great event, and I think the action of the Public Works Committee was an effort to kind of come up with some sort of a compromise. Sometimes compromises end up not pleasing anybody, and that may be kind of where we where we find ourselves. I want to say thank you to the school district and to Principal Kramer as well for the cooperation they put into this, really addressing one of the issues that happened at the first one, the place for the cars, as well as kind of working through some of the issues. I think we're kind of feeling our way with this. And I guess I would be sympathetic to the idea of, can we do some traffic calming, leave it open, but do some traffic calming that would make it both safe and address some of the issues that have been raised.
Evan?
I don't really have any further questions to add, but I do want to say that it is a great event for our community, and for complete safety, I would prefer support of the actual closure of the road.
Thanks, Devin. Larry?
I would support total closure of the road, and I'd go from 4 to 8. And my rationale is really very simple. I go to a lot of events throughout Wisconsin throughout the year where entire streets are closed off for the event. And it does affect the businesses somewhat in those blocks. But guess what? The effect is they have more business because there's lots of people coming to the event. And they're looking at the stores and the windows and the displays, and they're saying, oh, we should check this place out. Oh, I didn't know we had a karate studio here in our community. So I think it does just the opposite, especially given it's only once a month. And I think there's adequate parking there. And as far as the children going to the karate studio, when I took my son to the karate studio, I didn't just drop him off when he was a young man. I got out of the car and I walked him to the studio and walked him back. Of course, I was walking in those days. But I would do the same if I was in my wheelchair and I had a young son. So I'm all in favor of it. I think we want to encourage this kind of activities in our community.
Nikki, did you want to comment further? Oh, Jen.
I just, oh, sorry.
Nikki, go ahead and then I'll go.
Okay. So I just want to say thank you again for addressing this at the meeting. I wanted to add, I believe his name was Larry that just spoke. I don't know everyone. But all the businesses, I was walking around all night because we had the radio there broadcasting for all the businesses. Because basically I want everyone to know, like, this is about the farmers market and the city, but this is also about highlighting all the businesses on Goodrich Square. Every business that was open was packed with people. Rocky's, she couldn't even keep up. People were watching in the windows of the karate studio because he had classes going. Corner Closet was packed. My store, I had it closed for the first hour or two just because I had everyone all hands on deck at the farmers market. But one of my children actually went in to use the bathroom, and then like 10 people followed her in to look at the store. And our store was packed from probably 6 o'clock until well after the farmers market stopped. So, and we also had the winery did some slushies. I mean, every business in that area was extremely, extremely busy. Even Maddie Strong, they were on site doing things, but their store itself was super busy. Rip had everyone walking through his garages. It was crazy how many people were there. And I do think, whether the road closes or not, this is going to bring a lot of people to those businesses. And my husband and I don't want to inconvenience anyone. We just want to make sure everyone is safe. We have 4 kids, and we just want to make sure that everyone that comes and attends is safe and that there's not a bunch of speeding traffic going by.
Thanks, Nikki.
Anissa, can I ask a couple clarifying questions? Okay. So Nikki, just so I understand it correctly, I think, Al, you called it the skinny parking. What are you calling the angled parking there? Is that what you're referring it to?
Yeah, the skinny lot is the school district, kind of the old school district lot, the north end of that parking lot there that I think it's basically everything that's north of, I guess, College is the skinny parking lot. And then you guys have your new parking lot, which is where the farmer's market takes place. And the skinny
Sure.
parking lot is where the car show will take place.
Right. And so part of my question or clarification, Nikki, would be that, so I think what had happened is that we didn't close off that skinny part the first time around. And so my parents came, they couldn't park in our lot because I had everyone moved. So they parked over there, and then many families stuck around, played on the equipment, which then created a barrier for you because then there was no parking, right, for the car show or vendors or whatever you had going over there. And so I just have, so am I correct? That was part of the problem, that wasn't cleaned out?
Yeah, so like we tried to get everyone out, but it was just like a ship with a hole in the bottom. We couldn't get everyone out. And then people were wanting to stay and stick around and had questions and wanted to shop. And yeah, and then it just kept filling up. And then we couldn't close it. And then we had all these cars wanting to park for the car show. And it was just like mass chaos trying to get everyone out and where they should be.
Sure. Makes complete sense, because if you asked who drove that car over there and it was mine and I didn't want to leave, I probably wouldn't have owned up to it. So I could see that being a problem. So I understand closing off that skinny parking. And if I notify my families, I want to be a good neighbor, I can suggest that they park over here on South Janesville. They could use Greenman, College Street. It's not much of a walk. So I don't see that as a problem as far as, the pickup for here. And then my staff not being in the lot. But am I correct? That was part of the problem. So closing off that skinny parking would solve that, true?
Well, it would solve for the car show, for the cars coming in. But what we noticed and what we had an issue with is there was so much traffic on Parkview, people could not cross. Like the sweet little crossing guard for the school, she helped for a little bit once the farmer's market started. But it was impossible for people because it was just so busy. And then obviously when you have something going on, people drive really slow, and then people are driving fast, and then you hear all these brakes. You know what I mean? It creates this hustle and bustle. And then plus so many people were around in the area walking that, the square. It was a lot of people and then a lot of cars on top of it.
Okay. And so then the only other thing, so that helps clarify for me. I just wanted to better understand the road closure because I was under the impression noon as well, 4 changes it for me. Not that I have a say in any of this. I just want to better understand it. But Teresa, to your point too, or to everybody on the city council, I'm not sure if anyone has talked to the bank about using that parking after the bank closes. Don't forget there is parking over on the east side of the building here at Milton East. We also have, I know there were food vendors up here in the circle in the front of our school. And I'm not sure, Scott, what the options are for handicap parking temporarily, but could they use parking up here in the Circle Drive here at East for people to get closer to the event? I don't know how that gets marked. I'm just throwing out an idea.
The bank said that it was okay.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to think about parking that would be closer to the event, and it's just a Kramer idea, and now I'll be quiet. So thank you. I had to better understand that.
No. And also to add to your point, the parking in front of our store, I want to say there's 12-ish stalls. There's one handicap and maybe 12 stalls. We were gonna, anyone that needed handicap parking, we were gonna let them in, if that makes sense. Even though we have it blocked off and barricaded, that parking right there, it wouldn't go to waste. Do you know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Any further questions, or Ryan?
I have a question, I guess. How many people did you think you had last time?
So again, it's an estimate. We had a gentleman there with photography that did a drone, and he did a rough estimate. It was between like 1,200 to 2,000 people.
Okay.
And,
I'm just-
and we made sure everyone was distanced and we had a hand sanitation and all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
I only question, I'm curious about it because when we do the Civil War days, we do this school day. And back when we could do the school day, all in person, we had about 1,500 kids and all the parents and chaperones that come with it, which weren't necessarily counted in that. So over 2,000 people, maybe more. And we filled Janesville Street with buses and had them down Storrs Lake Road and had other places full as well. So I'm just wondering where you're able to put all the vehicles. That's just more of a question about that. Maybe that's a little bit off topic to some extent, but I think it's kind of on topic. Just there seems to be a little bit limited as far as parking goes. I'm not necessarily against closing the street. I just trying to figure out where, in a way, you could.
When we looked at it, Al pulled up the map. We had this meeting back in February when I brought up the idea and I wanted to do it, and he was able to show me all the parking because I was kind of a skeptic as well, but he showed me all the parking on the city map and then like side streets. And from what I saw, people parked a lot in the bank parking lot. They parked all on the, on Parkview Drive where like the housing was behind the behind Rockies, like there's the public parking lot there. And then behind our building and then up side streets, as well as the Milton house. And then that residential area over there is what I saw walking around.
I suppose if people are interested, they'll find somewhere to park. Okay. That's more a question of curiosity than anything else, because I know how much 1,500, 2,000 people takes up space-wise to some extent, and that's usually compacted into buses, not even just cars. So,
also remember that probably 20 to 25% or maybe more were pedestrians from within the city that walked over. So.
And certainly I think that's something the city can do is encourage walking. That's we want to be a walkable, bikeable community, and we would love it if people were walking more to the events that we have. So is there any further questions or comments from council members at this point? Linda.
I feel like all of the concerns for elderly parking and different locations to park have been addressed. And there still is time if Nikki and Al and Howie need to get together and look at something else. I believe in pedestrian safely, and I think that it is very important that in order to have events where you want to bring people, that you just close your roads if that's what needs to be done. We've done it all over town for different reasons, and this maybe is just the first of many that we're going to have. We are a walkable community and we want people to know that we are. So to me, this is another step in just inducing those ideas to our community, to those people that aren't walking.
Okay, is anything for anybody else? Is there a motion? Linda?
I will make a motion that we approve. Maybe I should look at how I should say this. I'll make a motion that we approve the closure of Parkview Drive for the designated days in June through August from 4 to 8.
it's through September.
Oh, through September.
I will second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion?
Yes.
Yes, Teresa, go ahead.
According to the agenda, it says 5 to 8. So we're changing that motion?
That was the recommendation by the Public Works Committee. So the application request is, well, I guess now clarified tonight from 4 to 8.
Okay.
So, a motion, I would say a motion could be to approve the application as presented, but I think we would need to amend that and say, approve the application for the Milton Farmers Market with the road closure of Parkview Drive between Greenman and College between the hours of 4 and 8 p.m. on the dates indicated on the application.
Do you want it as one motion? I mean, because conceivably you could approve the event and not approve the closure, or does it have to all be
Well,
marked?
the only reason there is a special event permit request before you this evening is because of the road closure.
Okay, otherwise it's just good to go.
Correct.
Okay.
I
all
do.
right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Well, I do have a question then for Mrs. Kramer, because that was some of the problem last time regarding school closure and picking up children and all of the traffic difficulties in picking up the kids. Can you accommodate that, Mrs. Kramer?
Here's what I'm wondering. So because we still have school this time, I understand in July, it won't, as far as the picking up and dropping off is not an issue, but closing that road at 4 o'clock concerns me a smidge, and here's why. Some people, number one, you're not allowed in the parking lot until 4 o'clock, at least this time, because we have to let my employees get out of here, all right? And now we thought it was only going to happen the one time, but we have a full day of school on Thursday, so now it's going to be the same for this week as well. And so I'm wondering about pushing closure either to 4:30 to the road closure, because really I don't think the farmer's market's going to be up and running until 4:30-ish, because you can't even get in until 4. Is that true, Nikki? You
Yes
guys
and
advertising-
yes and no, because
Okay.
not all the traffic was from school. There was a lot of traffic because of the radio, like, do you know what I mean? And it was hard, to be quite honest, it was hard to pick out who was from where, because there were people all over, starting at like 3:45. People were lined up, ready to go and looking at everything. So to answer your question, honestly, there wasn't enough of me to disseminate who was from where.
I think my point is this, like, your vendors aren't allowed in the east parking lot here. I call it the east parking lot, but the city school district parking lot until 4 o'clock, because my people need to get out of here. I encourage most of them to park on the other side of the building so that, and we did barricade off that east parking lot. So I think my point is do we let the school traffic, so close off the east parking lot with barricades so that parents aren't coming in to pick up. I think also that skinny lot that's going to have to maybe be done as well. But do we let all that school traffic get out of here and then close the road? Okay, because you're going to be creating so much more congestion, in my opinion. And Scott, I don't know how you feel about that, but because a lot of our parents are picking up here and north side, and then buzzing their kids. So do you move the closure to something more like 4:30 and let all for this time? I'm not saying for July. I'm just talking about getting that traffic out
Right.
of. So
For May or June.
I just worry, Mrs. Kramer, and again, you probably know better than me. I take care of sick people, not cute little kids. But I guess my concern is like when we were trying to close the skinny lot, it's really hard once like an event is starting per se. It was so incredibly hard to try to close a parking lot down. I can only imagine how hard it would be to close a road down like safely. Do you know what I mean? Because people unfortunately don't want to follow rules. And I guess my concern is once it's already going, once the event is already going, because yeah, we say 4:30, but people show up at 3:45 ready to go and buy and shop and bombard people with everything. I just get nervous because it's my husband, myself, and a smaller crew of people. I don't have 100 employees, but basically the manpower to try to close it safely, that would be my only concern is if we wait. So, I mean, I totally get it.
I was suggesting of barricading off that skinny lot prior to my pickup time. So don't close the road down, maybe close off that lot so that my parents aren't sticking around and playing on the playground and not moving, because that to me took a lot of your guys' time. And so if we could eliminate that encourage my parents to either park on this side of the building on South Janesville Street, the east side, or using some of those side streets like Greenman. I don't know if I'm making sense to any of the city council members, but closing off
You
that
are.
city lot and the east lot, you know, but not the road per se until we get everyone out of here.
Yeah, I don't, I guess, Mrs. Kramer, I guess, I know we were gonna close the skinny lot earlier than last time.
Yep.
My thing was the street, once the event is like kicking off, I guess, would be harder to close. I know the vendors aren't gonna get in until 4. But I don't know. I guess I'm being a nervous Nelly because I'm a mom and I'm trying to keep everyone safe. And I just had the, trauma Memorial Day in the ICU. So, I guess
this
my thought
something
behind
that-
it was that.
Is this something that maybe Public Works can help with, Howie, as far as the time to actually put the barricades up? I know before you kind of did it ahead of time, but could you do the barricades at 4:30 with the city vehicle and kind of make an obvious thing?
You're muted, Howie.
Thought I unmuted it. It'll be obvious once the barricades go up, because we have to use the larger ones if we're going to close the road. It's not just the sawhorses. So they'll be right at the edge of the sidewalk, pretty much in the pedestrian crossing area. So they're not going to be easy to let traffic in and out of either. And that might not be the best thing, because if you're letting traffic in and out, you're going to slow down that left turn on College Street, and that'll back up your traffic on Parkview. So once the road's closed, it'll be really obvious with those larger barricades that it's just closed. They're not easy to move. So whatever time you want is when they would get closed. And we'd probably use those larger ones also for the parking lot also this time, at least on the College Street side, because you're going to have traffic coming in, well, both ways, but we'll have to use the larger one. So it'll be obvious whatever time you want.
Linda, you made a motion. It hasn't been seconded. You made it for 4.
It was seconded.
It
Yeah,
was seconded. That's
Oh.
why we're discussing it.
I have a
was-
comment
was-
maybe to make about it though.
Go ahead.
Could we just, since this is just giving approval to be able to block that road off, can we still keep it at 4, but have it be, how we can work with Nikki and Ms. Kramer to close off the road when is best for everybody at that point? Rather, we could say we're setting this for 4 o'clock, so it's blanket across all of them, because if we start saying certain dates for each one, it might get more confusing. But that's just when we're saying they have approval to block it. But how we can maybe work with them to say do it at 4:30 just for this first one because of this conversation. Would that work? Rather than trying to set different times for different dates. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because we're going to run into this in September too, I think, right, Nikki? There's one after September.
Yep. I'm all in favor of whatever Mrs. Kramer would like to do and the city would like to do. I just want to keep everyone safe and happy. I know it's a hard thing, but I'm willing to do whatever I need to do.
Scott, if I borrow your uniform, I think the traffic won't be a problem.
And I just
and that's one of the things that we've been mulling over and concerned with, is this event growing beyond the capacity of people to just volunteers trying to manage all of these various situations. And if we decide that now this is growing too big, and I know people have mentioned it before, is it the right location? But if it's going to start using more and more city resources, that's a concern from a management standpoint on my part. I have one police officer that's going to cover the entire city between 4 and 6:30 p.m. That's all I got. And that is a typical Thursday that, we're short one officer on second shift. So I have one at 4 o'clock. I have a second one coming in at 6:30, and those 2 officers handle protection for the entire city. And if we need to dedicate police resources to this event, that's something we're going to have to talk about what that looks like. And I completely agree with you, Mrs. Kramer, having a uniform presence, as all of you would likely agree, has a tendency to get people to follow the rules a little bit better. But that's going to be me putting somebody on overtime at that location. And that has a fiscal impact, especially when we're running short. So just, yeah, I agree with you. There are wider implications. So just to consider for the future.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. You know, at this point, the city has not denied any request of the Milton Farmers Market. I just want to make sure that's clear. Every request that they've had, we have acquiesced to. But it's when the rules start changing that we have to respond as well. So just the idea of having a public works employee come out there at 4:30, that means it's overtime. You know, and that changes the process. It's not to say that we can't do it, but folks have to understand what that means if that's the direction we go. Up to this point, Nikki and Tyler have indicated that they will move the barricades, and that's great. We're all in favor of that, so long as they're willing to do it. But as Scott pointed out, if it grows and there's additional requests, I mean, it's no different than Wally's Fest. We charged Wally's Fest for the city resources, and we're able to accommodate chicken barbecue during normal working hours. We're able to accommodate Civil War days during normal working hours. But 4th of July, that's all time and a half or double time. So it's just we're being consistent.
Well, and I think we want to be friendly and encourage people to try new things in our city and to do what we can to support businesses and work together and work through issues as they come up. Like, I just anticipate, things come up when you try something. So we just have to work through them and cooperate and do the best that we can. And I was at the farmers market. Everybody that was there loved it. There was a ton of people there. It was a beautiful night. It was, in all regards, a success. And even with all the traffic and everything, and, we have a lot of traffic at Chicken Barbecue too. And, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't have a lot of traffic, you don't have people at your events. So if we're a city that doesn't want to have events and doesn't want to have people at events, that's a choice the council can make. But if we want to be this community that encourages people to visit and a destination, then we just have to work through the growing pains.
Can I ask a question, Anissa?
Yes.
Like, I'm not even sure if this is doable because I don't know how city council make decisions. I mean, I do, but would it be possible to approve it just for this 1 month, revisit it? Not that everyone wants to come back and rehash it, but give it a whirl to see what that impact is to close the street and then revisit it before the next one, or not? I'm just trying to help with that compromise, as I think it was Larry or someone pointed out. It's not, maybe it was Bill, but not everyone wins in a compromise, but that might be an idea.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I'm in supportive of that idea to put it on. Does it go back to Public Works then and then come here, or what is the procedure now?
Well, that would ultimately be your decision. It wouldn't need to go back to Public Works. Because again, so the special event permit application is because it is on public right of way. The application is for the dates listed in the application. So June, July, August, September. If the Common Council made a motion or a friendly amendment to the motion that was already made that says, approval of the special event permit application for Milton Farmers Market on June 3rd to be revisited after the event, it wouldn't have to go back to Public Works.
Nikki, would that be okay with you?
I'm totally good with it. I'm no pro. I mean, I love to plan events, but I'm all for that. Cause I mean, I'm not a pro at farmers markets. So like I said, I just want to keep everyone safe. So if that, it sounds reasonable. So, who knows? The road closure, honestly, it might not work. It might be a catastrophe. I have no idea. So I'm more than willing to try. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it could be. it could be awful. So, I mean, and then it might not be the way to go. So then I'll be coming back to you guys and saying, oh my gosh, I don't want to close the road. Can we please do this, instead? So I'm honestly, my husband and I are very flexible and accommodating, and we're willing to try whatever you guys suggest.
I assume we'd have to amend the motion.
A friendly amendment.
Yes, and that's all right. So my motion needs to be rather than from June to September for June 3rd only. And following the suggestion of Mrs. Kramer, I will say for closing the road from 4:30 to 8.
Mark, are we good on that? We just need a second.
I will second that since it was my second originally.
Yeah, you would need the original second to agree to the amendment. And then as suggested by Al, then I assume the motion would be and then to bring it back to the council for review in July for the remaining dates.
We would have to do it. We would have to do it on June 15th, which would be after the event. So there would be a time to debrief. But if we waited until the meeting in July, we would actually we would be 2 days before it again, like we are now.
Okay.
Yeah. So we could bring it back on June 15th. It wouldn't hurt anything. I think by then we would know whether it was a success or not.
Okay. So you'd add that to your amended motion as well to bring it back to the council on June 15th for review regarding the remaining dates set out on the application.
I'll add my motion.
Second.
Inga or Jenny, I don't know who to call on right now. Could you just read the motion back for clarification, please?
Okay, so it's the amended the motion. The person clerk amended the motion to approve the closure of Parkview Drive between 4:30 and 8 p.m. for the June 3rd Milton Farmers Market event, and to bring back the application to the June 15th council. That's correct.
For the remaining dates on the
For
application.
the remaining dates. Thank you.
Yeah.
That also will give us a good time to discuss police presence, to discuss if it's the right location. I mean, there's some other things that we could talk about on that July meeting. So.
Right.
All right, there is a motion. There is a second. All those, okay, please make sure you're unmuted so we can hear you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? All right, well, we're going to try something new in a couple of days, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, everyone. And the next item is...
Before you go to the next item, I just make one suggestion because I can't help myself. But Nikki, I don't know if it would be you or someone with the city, but to make sure they jot down, make some observations so that when you guys do debrief about this, that maybe somebody's keeping an eye on, I don't know, the number of people crossing the street, where people are parking, so that you guys can maybe talk about tangible data instead of what you're just like recalling, which is normal for a first event. Just a suggestion. And that's all I got. So
I can do that. Not a problem.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, Jennifer Kramer.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to the next one. Are we ready? Thanks. Discussion and possible action regarding farmhouse fine sidewalk sale application for special event permit.
Want to take this one, Jenny?
I can take this
Okay.
one, yes. So again, and Nikki and Tyler Olson from Farmhouse Finds have requested a special event permit for sidewalk sales planned for June 5th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It'll be in conjunction with the citywide rummage sales. This will allow all of the property owners to display private property on the public sidewalks on Parkview Drive and Merchant Row. And the organizers are not asking for any city services, so there are no costs to the event. And Public Works Committee did review this one and they did approve the event packet.
I would move approval.
I would second.
There's a motion and a second. Does anybody just raise your hand if you want to make a comment? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I-
Anyone opposed? All right, well, we're gonna have a sidewalk sale too.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nikki. Okay, and we're just gonna keep along the theme of special events and fun things to do in the city of Milton. Discussion and possible action regarding Milton Optimist 2021 Independence Day Run Walk application for special event permit.
I will take this one too. So the Optimist Club is requesting this a special event permit for the Independence Day Run and Walk, and that's going to be set on July 4th. It's going to feature a 10K run walk and a 1K mile run and walk. So the 10K will begin on West High Street and end on Municipal Drive. And then the 1 mile run walk begins on Rainbow Drive and also finishes on Municipal Drive. The streets that are affected will be, portions of them will be closed from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is something that has happened in the past, so the event is not changed from the prior years.
I would move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Anybody have anything to say? We're closing streets here. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Okay. Discussion and possible action regarding the 4th of July parade application for special event permit.
Okay, I will take this one also. So Open Doors Foundation, and they requested their special event permit for the 4th of July celebration. In the special event permit application, the parade needs to be approved by Public Works and Council because it is on public premise and right away again. So this year, the parade will begin on Crescent Drive and end at the intersection of Hilltop Drive and Municipal Drive. So I want to make note that on the map included in the packet, the parade was ending at Veterans Park after Public Works and the police department have expressed concerns with that. We did talk to the organizers and they are okay with ending it at that intersection of Hilltop Drive and Municipal Drive. There is a detour and regular vehicle traffic will be directed along Sunset Drive, and then the truck traffic will be directed to County Road and to travel between Highway 59 and Janesville Street. So this again is similar to in the past. I believe 2019 was the last one for the route, and so will be the same as in the past.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Are you sure you don't want to have some debate about this? Push it back a week, have some headlines in the Courier, some emails, I don't know, anything to excite things up. Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And we're not charging a fee either. They might recall all of us if we charged a fee.
Mhm.
Discussion and possible action regarding ordinance 485, creating a four-way stop at St. Mary Street and Hilltop Drive.
We've had a couple of requests for this over the years, but certainly the requests are increasing as development continues to occur at the end of Hilltop. So myself, Chief Mark Wart, and Howie Robinson took a look at this and do agree that this is probably an area that should be addressed because it's only going to get more busy. As you may know, Hilltop Drive is planned to be extended all the way down to Milton Harmony Town Line Road, and we are still anticipating another residential development to come forward this year, which will extend it even further. So because these are the two main arteries, having a four-way stop in this location does make some sense. And in the event that in the event that St. Mary's continues on to the west at some point in the future, we may look at this at Rainbow as well. But right now we're only looking at St. Mary's and Hilltop.
Any questions or comments?
Just one. Would this be the primary stop regardless of, when you end up at Harmony Township Road?
Yeah, that's a good question. It may end up being the only stop along this stretch of Hilltop because, there's really no possibility for any additional east-west streets that would extend the link that St. Mary's does. I don't want to say, I never want to say never, but it's a strong possibility that this may be the only stop along that route as we move forward until we get to town line. But it's something that we just have to monitor over time.
Okay, just one.
Kevin?
No questions.
Bill?
No questions.
Linda?
No questions.
Larry?
No questions.
Ryan?
No questions.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 485, creating a four-way stop at the intersection of St. Mary's Street and Hilltop Drive.
Okay, Mark's raising his hand.
He gets me
It's-
every time.
Well, I think you know what I'm going to say already.
Okay. I'll make the motion to approve ordinance number 485, waive the second and third reading and adopt. Am I close?
Close, just to approve the first reading.
Okay.
Waive the second, third, and adopt, yes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, good job. We're gonna get that one of these times.
See what
Discussion?
happens when I go on a trip and go out in the sun and bake for a week?
At least you have an excuse. I don't have one. Discussion and possible action regarding the city of Milton's dissemination agent.
I'm gonna let Dan take this one.
So this is something that we try to look at all of our professional services contracts on a case-by-case basis at various times to see if the provider is providing the best service. And we've been working with PMA for a number of years on the city investments, probably for the last 4 or 5 years now. And we became aware that they offer services related to securities, or as I like to call it, insurance, because we're a small organization and not a lot of people have understanding of all the requirements. And if that person, me, were to get whacked by a bus or something, it would be good to not be
on Parkview during the farmer's market.
Well, hopefully there won't be buses going down Parkview on a Thursday night. But we would hate to put the city in a pickle where we missed a deadline by a day or two or longer with our debt, and we risk potentially getting downgraded the next time we go to issue, and there's penalties and all sorts of disclosures that have to happen for 5 years. So it's helpful to have a second set of eyes helping with that. But PMA has offered to do that service for $1,500, and Ellers have been charging us $3,300 for the last several years. And so the recommendation from city staff is to enter into this dissemination agreement, because that's what the service is actually called, to have them be our dissemination agent. And likely we would use PMA for other things, but those would be handled on a case-by-case basis, just like it is right now with Ellers. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Al?
Nope, I think that covers it.
I would move approval of engaging PMA as the dissemination agent.
I would second that. Motion.
A motion and a second. Anyone on the council have any questions or comments? Teresa?
No, I was
Okay.
ready to vote.
Linda?
I was just wondering, so we're not leaving Ellers, we're just adding the second set of eyes, correct?
Well, Ellers already does that. We would switch from Ellers to PMA.
Correct.
For this purpose.
For this purpose.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Mark?
As I understand the motion, just specifically for the minutes, then specifically you're moving to approve the dissemination agent agreement. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? All right, that motion carries. General items, committee reports. Anybody have a committee report?
Are we gonna have a fire commission meeting this month, do you think?
I don't know yet, Linda. We had canceled last month because there really wasn't an agenda item. And we are waiting to see whether there will be any agenda item this coming month. So we'll kind of get back to you. There probably will be some type of meeting, but not necessarily on the night that it's scheduled. I guess I'll say it that way. You know, you saw it in your minutes or your notes from Al that
Yeah.
it might be a different type of meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Anything else for committee reports? Staff reports, Howie?
Oops. Well, okay. Splash Park's open, so that's working well. Let's see, what else? Seemed like Memorial Day things went pretty well. Now we're getting ready for, well, just this next weekend, regular things, but there's the farmer's market, rummage sale days, those kinds of things. Graduation this weekend, so we're concentrating on Central Park and the high school area for cleanups, brush collection. Let's see, then, well, after that, we have a parade meeting tomorrow, so other than that, regular stuff, quite a bit of it, so. And quite a bit of code enforcement lately, mostly weeds, so.
It's no mow May, I thought. Well, now it's June, so.
Now it's June. Yeah, so
I don't recommend not mowing. I happened to kind of do that up at the farm and it didn't turn out so well. Dan, anything?
2 weeks from now, Monica Hauser, the partner on our audit, will be presenting the annual audit report. So got the drafts and I'm just working on the management discussion and analysis right now. So
Inga?
Just letting everybody know we have the position posted for City Hall, part-time admin assistant position, and that posting will be closing on June 8th.
Jenny? The finder of things?
Yes. So to start off with the special event applications and the ordinance, Howie and Scott and I are going to be starting to work on possibly a revamp of how everything works and the approvals and what needs to be approved. So we're going to be bringing that to council. It probably will not be in the June 15th meeting, it might be in July, but that is something we are discussing to make sure that we have all of the ordinances in one, and if it's a policy or an ordinance that we need. So, and Mark is going to be part of that conversation also. And then on June 15th, we will be approving the alcohol licenses. So right now, everything is on track for that. So we have no issues. And that is pretty much all that I have right now. I have not found anything else.
Thank you. We're just trying to catch up with you. You're doing great. Thanks. And let's see. Oh, Mark E.
Start seeing some construction here probably later this month or in July with the pavement maintenance project and the Cottonwood and Blanche street work. We would receive the first applications or the first with the first bids for the lead service line replacements. So there's some of those that'll be starting here soon. So that's good. Customers are starting to take advantage of those funds. That's about it, I guess, for now.
Okay, thank you. And Chief, where did he go? Is he gone?
I think
Can't
so.
see him. Okay, I'm not the only one that can't see him. Al.
Yeah, so what we've been kind of dealing with a lot lately is kind of a lot what we talked about today, up to and including the fire department, and we're hopeful that we could have a report by the end of this month from Wisconsin Policy Forum, and then we'll be looking to kind of share that with the council and the town board and the public. So stand by for more on that. And other than that, it's special events, reorganization, hiring, and warm weather's coming.
All right, now we're going to do team building before closed session. All right, so what was or is your favorite thing to do at the county fair, the state fair, Disney World, whatever amusement park? What is your favorite? What is your favorite thing to do? Devin.
I am a sucker for fried food.
Awesome.
I go to the state fair to the it's the Wisconsin food products one, and just way too much. So we're there, the baked potatoes, the pork sandwiches, the steak sandwiches, and the ice cream sundaes.
So I'll just like all the foods, every food you could
Everything.
possibly have.
Yep. It's a binge.
Ryan,
Roller coasters.
roller coasters. Oh
Yep.
my God, I love roller coasters. Bill?
I like to get into the barns where, especially to see the kids, with their animals, the interaction between the kids and the animals they've raised to show really special.
Yeah, I love 4-H. Dan,
I'll go with the music.
how about it? Like when Garth Brooks came to the Rock County Fair?
Garth Brooks came to the Rock County Fair.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, he did. I saw him.
When was that?
It was
Like
his first year that he was on the billboard. I think.
I think it was like 1990 or 1989, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Wow.
Larry.
Yeah, the fair,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say the fair's kind of gone in reverse. They used to get the up and comers before they were up and comers, and now it's kind of like, how many times can foreigner play at the Rock County 4-H Fair? Yeah.
Larry.
County fairs, lemonade, cheese curds, and I like all the animals too. I grew up in a farming community, so it's interesting to see all the varieties of creatures out there and subspecies of different species, chickens and rabbits and all those sort of things. But like Bill said, I enjoy talking to the people who are exhibiting, hearing their stories and what they go through to get the animals ready for exhibiting, and it's always interesting.
And what their parents go through. I just want you to know there's a lot that the parents go through the whole year before that. There's a whole week that exists before the county fair where all the judging takes place. And, the parents have a lot to do with that too.
Oh, yeah.
Linda?
I have to agree with the animals. When I go to the fairs, I like to go out. I like to go in the barns but I grew up in the country, so I like the animals and the kids, but I really enjoy looking at all of the projects that the 4-H kids have come up with. I mean, it from the days that I was in 4-H, it's just amazing some of the beautiful things that they make for these projects.
I would say that, time has altered my appreciation for the fair. When I was really little, it was always the rides. And then as I got older, it was the music. And then as I got older, it became the food. And then now it's taking my kids there and watching them kind of experience it from their own perspective. So I've never really done the state fair. I mean, I've been to it before, but it's Rock County 4-H Fair. We never miss a year.
When I was in high school, I had a couple of friends that lived on the farm, and one of them had asked me to spend the night there because she had had a couple of animals that she needed to show, and one of them or two of them needed someone to stay with them. So she was going to stay with one, and she asked me to stay with the other one. Little did I know, I had to spend the night with a pig. I couldn't believe that. I thought, I'd never, anyway, snorted all night long. So, yeah.
So that was your favorite thing, right? Sleeping next to a hog?
Something I would remember the rest of my life. I know that.
I'll go. So this is oddly specific, but I loved going to the Mercy Health tent to get a cast on my finger during the 4-H fair. But otherwise, I just like walking around and watching people.
Jenny, you had your hand up.
Did. So this is embarrassing, a little embarrassing to admit, but it would be all of the vendors that have the gimmicky things like the ShamWows and special sweepers. I like those. I'm a sucker for those when they say buy one, get one free. Yay!
As seen on TV. So you're.
Oh, I love as seen on TV.
Might be a future team building exercise. Maybe that'll be our Christmas gift exchange. We'll just do as seen on TV presents.
So I haven't had as much experience with the Rock County Fair. Usually when I'm there, I'm working at the tourism booth. But the Vernon County Fair, that's where I went growing up. There are always the staples that you went to, the Hubs fries, mini donuts, all the different food items that you could only get during a couple days of the year. So that was my favorite thing.
Well, let's see. I like all of the fair stuff. My favorite thing was the cheese curds when they were actually homemade cheese curds when they were beer battered at the Rock County 4-H Fair. But I also like all the Dells stuff. And I love roller coasters. I don't think I could do a wooden roller coaster because I think I'd throw my back out right now. And of course, Disney World was the best thing ever because I didn't go until I was like, it was after I was 40, let's put it that way. I'm not going to say how old I was. It was awesome. So what, are we down to the marks and the chief? Is that what we're waiting on now?
My internet keeps going in and out, so I didn't even catch the question. So can I get a repeat?
Yes. So it was something along the lines of like, what is your favorite thing to do? Like at a fair or an amusement park, county fair, state fair?
Eat. There's my one word answer.
And do you have a chief's report that you want to do?
Still working through a hiring process. I'm probably going to sponsor somebody through the academy. So there'll be a financial impact of that and an 18+ week wait till we get somebody in the building, which will be a challenge for my staff. But that's all I got.
Okay.
We missed Ashley during staff reports too.
Oh, Ashley. Thank you. See, when the squares move, you know, we got to start meeting in person sometime.
I just wanted to mention that Jamie received another grant through the African Studies program at UW-Madison, and we'll be purchasing African literature and books by African authors. So this is a third grant we kind of received to help our book collection. We previously received an East Asian grant, and then the Underground Railroad collection will be developing. So that's pretty exciting. And then our summer reading program starts next Wednesday with a fun safari scavenger hunt along like the Parkview businesses. And all of our programs and all that fun stuff are on our website.
I love that. Congratulations on those grants. That's really exciting. And I'm very sorry that I missed you.
We're looking at the marks.
No, I think it's like they get paid to be here. The longer we wait, I don't know what it is.
I like carnival games, even though you don't win anything. The food's good, rides are fun. There's all kinds of stuff to do, you know.
Were you a 4-H kid, Mark?
I was an FFA. So I showed beef and poultry and did woodworking and
Oh, so you did like the big bucks stuff where you got the big checks. Like we used to get like a $10 4-H check.
yeah, the big check coming in and the bigger checks going out. So
So you guys didn't know that if your kids are in 4-H, you actually get a little check for that.
yeah, the ribbon premiums.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that you sleeping with that big tree, so that was a moneymaker. I think that's it. One more with all the framed pieces of paper on the wall.
I say just walking around and feeling like a kid again. No matter whether it's the state fair, county fair, or especially Disneyland, Disney World, someplace like that. You just something about the environment just feels like a kid again.
Yep, suspend all belief. All right.
May I offer one more, Madam
Yes,
Mayor?
of course you can.
Well, it just dawned on me that one of my most favorite times at the Seymour County Fair, where I grew up, was when one year my dad and I and my grandfather all served as waitmen for the pony pulls. You know, back then you pulled a large stone and men and boys would stand on it, or girls too, to add weight as the pony was pulling from one way to the other. And the more weight that was on it, of course, to see the strength, how far that pony could get, how many yards it could pull. And my grandfather was a raised horses. And so I remember getting on with my dad and my grandfather, the three of us, holding each other up on that stone boat. If you ever get to see that, it's really interesting.
They still do those?
What was that?
Do they still do them?
I think so, yeah. I think so. I don't think it's as popular as it used to be, but tractor pulls have kind of taken over, you know, but it was neat.
Yep. Very cool.
That tells you how old I am, I guess.
I have no idea. All right. So item number 14, Ryan?
Consideration of a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to section 19.52 sub 1 sub E, Wisconsin statutes considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. In this case, Public Works Reorganization. Yep. Say it wrong.
Just a point of order, I just had noted that there's just a typo in the motion language. The statute is 19.85 sub 1 sub C. The language is correct in terms of the language from the statute itself. That's fine. It's just the record would just show that what the correct statutory number is.
I should have asked what Bill asked last time.
I asked you to review all of those a few months ago, Mark.
Oh, isn't there a test for Ryan to take? I don't know. All right, so there is a motion that has been clarified. Linda?
Second.
And there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So we will go in closed session.
Okay, so we are back into open session now.
Yes.
So Howie, they all agreed that you cannot retire. That was the consensus.
That was the consensus. Sorry, Howie.
So
Or
if
you
want me to
can retire and come back on a committee.
if you want me to tell Emma, let me know.
All right. Our next meeting is June 15th, 2021. The dairy breakfast is being hosted at 5928 East Bingham Road in Milton this Saturday, 6:30 to 11:30, 11.
And it's citywide rummage sale weekend.
It's citywide rummage sale. There's going to be a lot of people in town. Drive slow, walk or bike.
And hang up your phone while you're driving
Oh,
through the crowds.
Yeah.
and that's it, I think.
So Howie, I will give you a call tomorrow morning right away. Let you know.
Okay.
Or he can call you tonight too. No, he can't. He has to play cards.
Yeah, I've got to play war.
All right.
All right.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We're adjourned.